Welcome to the Las Vegas Review-Journal Judicial Primary Debates. Here's your host, Victor Jakes.
Hello, I'm Victor Jakes, and welcome to the Las Vegas Review-Journal studio, where we're hosting a debate between the three candidates running for Judicial Court Department 3. Joining us today are Adam Ganz, who's worked in civil litigation for over 20 years and graduated from the University of San Diego Law School. Monica Miceli works for a law firm specializing in criminal and labor law and graduated from the Boyd School of Law at UNLV. Monica Trujillo works in the Clark County Special Public Defender's Office and graduated from American University Washington College of Law. We'll start by giving each candidate a 1-minute opening statement. Adam, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. Victor, this race is about qualifications. Qualifications not only in the number of years of experience, but qualifications in the areas of experience. I have nearly as much legal experience as both of my opponents combined. Ms. Trujillo was a freshman in high school, and Mr. Miceli was graduating high school the year I started practicing law. I'm a lifelong Las Vegas resident, and I want to serve as district court judge not for a pay raise or a promotion, but to give back to our community. For more than 20 years, I have worked to protect our community as a civil litigation and trial attorney, fighting for individuals against big corporations, billion-dollar insurance companies, and government entities. I have worked on some of the most difficult and complex cases that you can imagine. I have also volunteered as a child advocate representing abused and neglected children, sat as a justice of the peace pro tem, and a court-appointed arbitrator in at least 100 cases, and also as a short trial judge. In addition to my legal experiences, I have run several businesses, as well as having sat on several nonprofit boards in our community. My name's Adam Ganz, and I'm the most qualified in this race for Department 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Michael, go ahead.
My name is Monica Miceli. I've lived in Las Vegas for 36 years now. I went to all of my schooling in Las Vegas. I'm a graduate of Valley High School, UNLV undergrad, and UNLV Law School. I want to give back to this community. I've been specializing in criminal defense and labor law for the past 13 years. I am in court every single day in my practice, Monday through Friday, pretty much all day long. My opponents cannot say that. They are not in court every single day like I am. I believe that courtroom experience is the most important, not the amount of actual years you've been practicing. I have done jury trials, numerous jury trials. I've done everything from a murder case down to a traffic ticket. I've also represented almost every single union in this town in one way or another. So I have experience in different areas of law, and I hope to be the judge in Department 3 so that I can give back to this community that has given me so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Monica, go ahead.
Thank you. Compassion, character, commitment. That's what you'll get if you vote for me for Department 3. I'm running because I believe judges can make well-reasoned decisions supported by law while showing compassion, respect, and understanding. I've served Clark County for the last 11 years as a public defender, and now I want to continue serving in a new, more impactful way. I represent people charged with the most serious and highly complex crimes, homicide cases. I'm also qualified to serve as lead defense attorney in cases where the state of Nevada is seeking the death penalty. Not every attorney who represents cases charged with murder is able to do that. Not only have I served on the front lines in the courtroom for over a decade, but I am a compassionate person with integrity, and my work ethic is unmatched. I have dedicated my career to helping people. If you want a judge who has trial experience, if you want a judge who isn't afraid to do what's right, and if you want a judge who will work tirelessly for this community, vote Monica Trujillo for Department 3.
Monica, thank you so much. Adam, we're going to direct the first question to you. Will you describe your judicial philosophy, including if you view the Constitution as a living document, or if you believe a judge needs to uphold the original meaning of the text?
I'm actually a strict constructionist. I actually believe that the words written on those statutes have meaning. The legislatures took a significant amount of time to determine the language that they put in those statutes, and I don't believe that judges, we should be altering those statutes. Certainly, there's a lot of room for judges to be able to interpret those statutes, but in the end, the statutes mean something. You can go back and look at legislative history if you think that there is a certain meaning or ways in which you think you need to interpret it, but I do not believe that the Constitution and or our statutes need to be changed by judges. I am just not an advocate of that at all.
Thank you, Adam. Michael, how about you?
I believe that a judge needs to be fair, compassionate, just, reasonable, and have knowledge of the law. All of those things I have. Every single day, I fight to defend the Constitution. Most of my clients are charged with a crime, and it is my job to make sure that the police upheld the Constitution, the state is upholding the Constitution, the judge is upholding the Constitution, and follow the law. I believe that the Constitution is a working document in that there is always room for change if and under the right circumstances, and that's why cases actually do go up through the appellate process, and the Supreme Court, in fact, does change the law, modifies the law under the Constitution. Especially, we see it all the time under the Fourth Amendment, which is the search and seizure law. Constantly see them changing, making exceptions to the rules. So it is a working document, but I do believe in following the law, and I will follow the law to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Monica, you've got one strict constructionist, one person who thinks the Constitution is a working document. Where do you fall on this?
My philosophy is one of judicial restraint. I do believe that judges are supposed to make decisions based on the law and the facts of the case before them. I don't think judges should add to what is written in the law already or detract from it. I believe they should follow the law, and yes, there is room for interpretation, but you should still follow the laws as written.
Thank you very much, Monica. Michael, the next question will go for you. You know, in criminal cases, judges have a lot of discretion in determining sentences. Now, while acknowledging that every case is different and there's no way to know how a judge will rule in one specific case going forward, do you think your sentences will tend to be more lenient or more strict?
It's going to depend on the case, ultimately. If you have a murder case and the guy's convicted, it's going to be much harsher than someone who has a drug case or something along those lines. That violent crimes are going to be harsher than property crimes. I think you have to take every case separately, but I am in favor of trying to keep people out of prison for the most part. There are certain people that need to be in prison, but there's a lot of people that don't need to be in prison, and I think that it's my job as a judge is to take every single case on its face, look at the person's prior criminal history, look at the facts of the case, the circumstances, look at what the statute is, and then determine based on that what I think the sentence should be. So I can't tell you I'm going to be more lenient or harsh in all cases overall, but I can tell you in a violent crime, I'm going to be much harsher than I would, like I said, in a property crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Monica, how about you?
I absolutely can't say one way or the other either because it's an individualized consideration. Every case is different. There are facts of every case that you have to consider, whether it's the actual facts of the allegations before you or the facts and circumstances surrounding mitigation, which is basically a person's personal history and what led them before you that day. So it's an individualized consideration, and I can't say one way or another, only that I will look to every case on its own merits.
All right, Adam, how about you?
Well, I can tell you I'll be tough on crime. That's for sure. And I also think this is an interesting question because my two opponents obviously practice in criminal law where I practice in civil litigation. So I think there should be some concerns about how my opponents have represented individuals who have been accused of crimes for so long, and then we're going to expect that they're going to be the ones that are going to bring down the hammer on some of these individuals who are convicted of crimes. So I think that I would have some concerns about them in that particular arena based upon the fact that they have done what they have done over the years. Now now I understand that everyone has a right to an attorney, and everybody has a right to a constitutional ability to be able to protect themselves when accused of a crime. But certainly in that type of arena, I think my opponents may have a bit of a concern and maybe a little bit of conflict from their years of experience in that.
Before we go to break, Monica and Michael, I want to give you guys a quick chance to respond to that. Monica, should voters be concerned that because you're a criminal defense attorney, you will be light on criminals?
Absolutely not, and I take exception to Mr. Ganz' point. I mean, is Mr. Ganz suggesting that he doesn't believe in the criminal justice system and that it's an adversarial process for which defense attorneys would not provide the integrity of the judicial system? Because that raises concerns for me. I can be fair, impartial, and just because my experience is in one department does not mean that I am not able to see a case for what it is.
And Michael, you said you'd like to work to keep people out of prison. Should the citizens of Southern Nevada be concerned that there will be criminals on the street?
What I mean by that is there's a lot of diversionary programs and probationary programs where people can actually get job training, get counseling, get things that they need to actually get a job and be a productive member of society, more so than had they actually gone into prison. Now, I'm not saying people don't deserve to go to prison. Once again, like I said, a drug possession case, a property crime of little value, is not the same as a violent murder, rape, kidnapping thing is on those lines. For the lesser crimes, I do believe that there are diversionary type programs and probationary programs that people can go through. So I am going to be tough on the real criminals. and the violent ones. And on the other ones, I'm going to take it very reasonable and a reasonable approach and see whether or not that person deserves to go to prison or not.
All right. And our judicial primary debates will continue in just a moment.
For all your Raiders news,
veterans on this team.
like us on Facebook, download the Vegas Nation app, and go to vegasnation.com.
Welcome back to our judicial primary debates. Monica, we'll start with you. Obviously every candidate believes they would be the best district court judge among the three of you, but do you believe any of your opponents are unqualified or unsuited for the bench?
Absolutely not. We are all obviously qualified. We're here for a reason, but I am the best candidate for this position because I have served this community for the last 11 years. I have protected people's rights every single day as a public defender. There is no substitute for courtroom experience. I have tried cases at the highest level. I am death penalty qualified. Those are very serious and the highest complex cases in our criminal justice system. And while I understand that people have concerns about not practicing in civil litigation, I would like to remind people that some of our most respected jurists have only had criminal experience. For example, Jennifer Tagliati, the Honorable Jennifer Tagliati, just recently went through her Senate confirmation hearing. She is a well-respected jurist and only had prior criminal prosecution experience before taking the bench. So I don't think there's a concern without having civil experience, and I think a lot of the issues in murder cases and death penalty cases translate to issues in the civil world. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Adam, are you concerned about any of your opponents?
I'm not concerned necessarily about my opponent's abilities in the areas of practice that they've already practiced in. Unfortunately, that's a very small sliver of the law. I've actually practiced throughout my entire career representing numerous areas of practice, including representing children for being abused and neglected in the foster care system or being unprotected at our schools. I've also sued hundreds of corporations for making unsafe products or not following some basic safety rules. And I can tell you that I've sued a number of insurance companies because when you pay that premium every month, you expect that they're going to make that promise to you. I could give you 1,000 different topics that I've been involved in the cases that I've litigated, complex litigation. I've done thousands of depositions. I'm not sure my opponents have even done a single deposition in their entire career. The reality is that they're qualified to do what they're doing right now. Someday they may make great judges, but right now they need some more experience. They haven't been doing this long enough, and they haven't certainly experienced enough areas of law to be able to be qualified in this department for this race.
Michael, Adam is questioning your experience. Do you question his experience or qualifications if you were to make it on the bench?
Well, I didn't hear him say anything about ever doing a criminal case, trying a criminal case or representing a criminal defendant. When he messes up in the civil world, money doesn't exchange hands. When myself and Mr. Trujillo screw up in the criminal world, someone goes to prison. Their freedom is taken away. So I do take exception that he thinks that his practice of law is so much more important than ours, because it's not. We represent people that their life and liberty is on the line, and our job is guaranteed under the Constitution. People have a right to an effective attorney in a criminal case. That's not the same in the civil world. So we are defending the Constitution every single day when we are in court. So I do take exception. I think that I am highly qualified because, like I said, I am in court every single day representing people. And I also, like I said, I've also represented many unions in this town, so I am also very familiar with labor law. So I do feel that I am very experienced, and I've been doing it for 13 years now. I'm in court every day. I've done jury trials. So I believe that I am the most experienced.
Well, I appreciate that, Michael. I do want to go back to you, Adam. I want to kind of give you a more specific question. Obviously, you've talked about your opponent's lack of civil experience, but are you going to have a learning curve if you're elected on the criminal side?
Yeah, well, first of all, this department right now is a capital department. Neither one of these two are qualified, even as criminal attorneys, to be able to do capital murder cases as an attorney, as a judge right now. Neither one of them will get that assignment. So this department will change. So all of us will be doing a different area of law than what we've been doing necessarily, at least right now. But I can tell you that I have talked to many judges, including the chief judge, and I understand that they assign and reassign cases all the time. So they will make this department a civil department if I were to get elected, so it would be completely civil. And I can tell you that the reason why that judges like Judge Tagliotti had to do criminal law, or excuse me, had to do civil law, is because there weren't enough civil judges out there to be able to do that. They split these dockets up and give it to certain individuals who aren't necessarily as qualified to do that. That doesn't mean that Judge Tagliotti, who's a phenomenal judge and is going to be a phenomenal federal judge, can't learn it. But the reality is right now, who's the most qualified, and that's what your question was, and that's how I answered it.
Monica, I want to go to you and get your response.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Jakes. I have a couple of things to address, but first and foremost, I would like to say that I think the most important thing is jury trial experience, which I absolutely have. The rules of trial procedure, the evidentiary rules, presenting expert testimony, that is all the same in any trial you do, civil or criminal. I have that experience. Furthermore, I am 250 qualified. I defend death penalty cases. That is the current stack in District Court 3. And while I agree that Judge Bell can change the stack depending on who gets elected, she will absolutely take that into consideration. And I would welcome you to look up if there are any judges who have defended death penalty cases. I believe I would be one of the first. Maybe if not, there might be another one. But we lack defense attorneys who have practiced at the highest level in the criminal justice system, and I absolutely do that.
I appreciate that, Monica. Michael, I want to go to you, but with a slightly different question. Obviously, you've talked about your work with labor unions. You know, should the average resident of Clark County be concerned that you've worked so closely with such a powerful special interest group, and would you need to recuse yourself if a case came before you involving labor unions?
I don't believe so. I just think it adds to my experience and the knowledge that I have of what they're talking about. That'd be like saying if a district attorney becomes a judge that they should recuse themselves from doing criminal cases because they have knowledge of criminal law. No, I don't believe that at all. I'm not personal counsel for any unions. They come to us for a lot of advice and we advise them, okay? I know the law, I know all about them, but I am not in any way going to recuse myself from representing, from hearing cases dealing with unions if I become a judge, because I don't have a bias. I know the law, and therefore, once again, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I should not have to recuse myself from a criminal case, and so I don't think I would have to here in labor law.
Thank you very much, Michael. Stay tuned. The debate will continue in just a bit. Welcome back to the judicial primary debate for District Court Department 3. Monica, this question is going to go to you first. As you know, Nevada has a very robust public records law. Unfortunately, many government agencies tend to violate that law, leading to lawsuits. Will you just talk about your understanding of the public records law, including relevant Supreme Court precedent?
As far as I understand that there is a backlog, but I believe that under the judicial canons, I cannot really speak about my opinions on this matter. I believe it violates Judicial Canon 4. However, I'm familiar that there is a process, there's an application process, and an administrative process that must be gone through prior to getting to the court system.
So let me just more directly, I mean, the public records law sometimes requires the government to release embarrassing information or sensitive information to other people. Right. Can you commit to the voters who are watching this that you will follow the law? I'm not obviously not asking you to not follow the law, but to follow the public records law, even if it leads to embarrassment for those in power?
Absolutely, I will follow the law. As I mentioned before, my philosophy is one of judicial restraint, and I do believe that a judge needs to follow the law as it is written.
Thank you very much, Monica. Adam, how about you?
Yeah, and I absolutely believe that in that law, nobody is above the law. Nobody should be able to hide behind the law in that particular instance. And I believe that there needs to be some reform in that particular area, and I believe that we need to look at that particular area in the legislature. Obviously, I'm going to follow the law as a judge and make sure that I apply the law as appropriately as possible. But I can tell you that in my civil arena, I've had difficulties obtaining records many times from different government organizations that I've sued, and it makes it very difficult to really get to the truth of the matter, to get to justice, and to get to a fair resolution for everybody when they're hiding behind the public records restrictions and not allowing us to get those records.
Thank you, Adam. Michael, how about you?
And I will absolutely follow the law. Once again, I believe you have to take every case on a case-by-case basis and look at the facts and what is trying to be obtained. But if the law is in front of me and it is what it is, I'm going to follow the law to the T. I don't believe it's my job in this particular area to be changing the law. As Mr. Ganz said, this is something that I believe would have to go up to the legislature to take care of. But I will follow whatever laws are in front of me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. And we'll be back in just a moment for our final segment.
For all your Raiders news,
veterans on this team.
like us on Facebook, download the Vegas Nation app, and go to vegasnation.com.
Welcome back to our judicial primary debates. It's time for closing statements. Michael, we'll begin with you.
Thank you. As I told you before, I've been in Las Vegas for 36 years now. I consider myself a lifelong Nevadan. I love this community, I love this state, and I want to give back to it by becoming a judge in Department 3. As I told you throughout my answers, I believe that I have the experience from my job as a criminal lawyer and as a labor law lawyer for the past 13 years, being in court every single day, doing jury trials of all crimes, all types of crimes, just representing people in all different fashions. I believe I have the most experience that actually translates into being a judge, and I hope to get your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Monica?
Thank you. There is no substitute for courtroom experience. Very few attorneys spend as much time in a courtroom as a public defender. I'm deeply familiar with the court system and the value and roles each player plays. Not only do I have extensive courtroom experience, but I bring a different perspective to the bench. My unique experience handling the highest cases in our criminal justice system give me the skills necessary to be a district court judge who is effective and efficient. I have dedicated my career to serving this community, and I will be a judge who is fair, respectful, and accessible. If you want compassion, character, commitment, vote Monica Trujillo for District Court Department 3. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monica. And Adam, will end with you.
As I said earlier, this race is about qualifications. Qualifications not only in years, but qualifications in the areas of law and other professional experiences. I have worked on some of the most difficult and complex litigation issues in this community, and I have not confined it to just one small area of law and criminal law. I do have trial experience. It made it sound like earlier that I don't have any trial experiences. I've tried cases in just about every single department in this community, and you can ask any of the judges about my trial experience. I'm a lifelong Las Vegas resident. I want to serve because I love our community. My name is Adam Ganz, and I'm the most qualified in this race for Department 3. Thank you.
Adam, Michael, and Monica, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for giving the voters a chance to hear from you directly. And thank you for watching the Nevada Judicial Debate for District Court Department 3. Remember, you can find this program and more information on all the judicial races at reviewjournal.com. We'll see you next time.